I just remember, I guess I met y'all 21 years ago or so, and you did a live classical Austin for us. But by then, you were so established, even though you're only formed in 1995, within 5 years, you won every competition that y'all entered. That's just, wow, that's unbelievable, but it's true, folks, and including the Banff International Competition, the Avery Fisher Grant, the first ensemble to win that in 2005. As well as the Naumburg Prize. So that's pretty darn amazing. And the group that will be coming in, they've won 2 of those prizes very recently, the Banff International Prize and the Avery Fisher Grant.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, well, tell us about the upcoming concert.
So it's a true collaborative concert between 2 quartets. We're the older veteran quartet, former winners of Banff, and then the Isidore Quartet, who won the Banff competition, not just recently, but the previous competition.
Yes. Yeah.
And I guess that would be 2022. We'll be coming together, and obviously this is a big year for the wonderful Mendelssohn Octet. The Mendelssohn Octet is celebrating its 200th anniversary, written when Mendelssohn was just ripe old age of 16.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it is amazing. So it's being played all around the world, and we wanted to get in on the action. And the Isidore Quartet, a young superstar quartet who's doing very well right now. They're going to be starting the concert off with a Haydn quartet. They're playing the Sunrise, the famous Sunrise, Opus 76. And the second piece will be the Caroline Shaw that was commissioned. We commissioned Caroline almost during the pandemic. It was basically a pandemic piece. We've been playing it all over, and we haven't played it that much in Austin. I can't even recall if we've played it recently. Right. We gave its premiere online, because it literally was happening during the pandemic.
Yes,
yeah.
I was tuned in.
So that's the first half, and then we end with this Mendelssohn, so we come together and play this magnificent work by Mendelssohn.
Well, I'm sure it's a large community yet a small community of string quartet musicians in America. How did you meet with the Isidore Quartet?
Well, the Isidore and us, we know some of the members individually. We've never collaborated with them. So the performance here on November 7th is going to be the first of many that we're going to be doing with them throughout this fall. Right after we play in Austin, we're traveling to South Carolina and Georgia to do some performances, and then we're going to Phoenix and we're going to California to play with them. And they've been members of other quartets, but it just seemed like a good fit. Our 2 managers work well together, so they were able to put this project together. And I think musically we feel like we would be a good fit. We'll find out on November 7th, but I think it's going to be, we love their playing, and we think it'll complement our playing very well.
Yeah, that must be exciting to bring in another group like that. And I wonder if they have, you've played that before for sure, actually.
Yes.
Quite recently, and many times perhaps.
Yeah.
Good, fair enough to say that.
Yeah.
And just to hear how they hear it too, and how you can make it happen musically together. That's got to be really.
We also remember when we are now celebrating our 30th anniversary this year.
Yeah.
We remember as a younger quartet being paired up with a more older veteran quartet to play the Mendelssohn. We would play the second parts, which we call the violin 3, violin 4, and cello 2 and viola 2.
Right.
And we would learn a lot just playing this piece with a veteran quartet. And now we're on the other side. We're the veteran quartet now, sharing our experience and our expertise with a young up and coming quartet. So so this is a piece that's been in our repertoire for a long time, and we've been on both sides of it. We've been, like I mentioned, like the younger quartet, and now we're kind of leading the way, and we've done that a couple of times, as you mentioned. We did play it earlier, actually right here in Austin with the Poesis Quartet, which incidentally also won the Banff competition a few weeks after we played with them. So maybe we had something to do with it. No, but it's same sort of thing, young quartet, and also an Oberlin formed quartet like we are. Yeah. That was the Poesis, and then so we're really looking forward to working with the Isidore Quartet. Right. Yeah.
Well, and as you just said, but just to be clear, if people aren't as familiar with classical music and such, this octet, you're not just bringing 2 quartets together playing the same thing. It's 8 individual parts. which is super cool.
Yes, exactly. So Mendelssohn had this idea of writing this large chamber work where everybody does get their own piece, but he wrote notes that said this should be played in a grand symphonic style. So it should sound like a string orchestra, but everybody has their own part. Every part, 1 through 8, gets their own moment. They get to pair up with different, all these different pairings. There's trios within quartets and septets. As the first violinist, I'm being supported by a septet at the beginning in the first movement, very much a concertante movement. Right. But by the time you get to the fourth movement, it's really everybody on their own, and he's got these great fugues. It's an unbelievable work, and to think that he wrote this when he was 16. It's like, what do you write after you do that? But he, of course,
give me
went
time.
on. Yeah, exactly.
Give me another 2 months and I'll have some masterpieces.
And he obviously wrote amazing, great works even after his octet, and many have tried to match that octet, and I would say maybe Shostakovich has written one that's just as good, but it's a very difficult medium to write in, just to write for 4 strings and to write for 8. And
very exciting for folks. Maybe you've seen string quartets live, and many people have in our audience, but it's fun to watch all that sort of ping-ponging around. Like, okay, tag, you're it.
And we do a certain. Every quartet or every octet group kind of has its own way of seating. So you can seat it like score style, violin 1 through 4, and then violas and then cello. So, especially in the last movement, there's this fugue that starts from the bottom and goes up, and that's one way of seating. But what we like to do is we like to stand. So I hope the Isidore agrees to it. We stand, but we also kind of do opposing quartets. Yeah. So you have violins facing each other, violas, and that's really fun too, because there's all these relationships that happen this way and that way, and then cross. So we found that we like it this way the most, and the standing gives it the more concertante kind of soloist feel for everybody.
Can you say just a couple words about the Caroline Shaw piece? Yeah.
So Caroline's piece. Caroline is somebody that we've worked with in the past, and we love her voice as a composer. She's a violinist herself, studied violin. Will, our second violinist, actually, I think almost overlapped with her at Rice when and they studied with the same teacher, Kathleen Winkler. And that's in school is where she kind of was discovering voice. She started to sing, and then when she started to write pieces, I think really she made her big splash when she won the Pulitzer writing for her singing group, Room Full of Teeth.
Yes.
And then she started writing for all kinds of symphonic things and choral things and then string pieces. And we played a couple of her string pieces, and we really loved it. So I would say it was 2019, and we said, hey, let's see if we can get Caroline to write us a quartet. She had written already a couple of really great quartets. And of course, during the composition of it, the pandemic came. So 2020 came along, and she was in the middle of kind of brainstorming what she was going to do, and what she discovered was really kind of there was an author named T.R. Darling, a sci-fi author. Yeah. During the pandemic, he was bored. Everybody was Netflixing and whatever, Instagramming and YouTubing and whatever, and he started to write microfictions. He would take the 144 character limit of Twitter, then Twitter, now X, and he would write little short stories in just a sentence or two with 144 characters. And she was so taken by this that she said, you know what, I'm going to take this idea and I'm going to write my own microfictions and then set music to it. And this became Microfictions Volume 1, which is the piece that we're playing. So there are 6 movements in this work, short little movements, and we will recite the little microfictions that she writes for each one. They're just little descriptive stories. They're, just very kind of fantastical and full of ideas, and not really about something. You can't make it about something in 144 characters, but and then the movements that she writes to each one of these are quite amazing. So you'll get to hear us practice, use our speaking chops as well as playing chops for that piece.
Cool. Okay, and of course Miró's been Grammy nominated a couple of times for sure, and hopefully this year.
We hope, yes. we were first nominated with Conspirare. We did an album with Conspirare, and then last year our album Home, which was a lot of American music, including works with the Caroline Shaw piece, and then Kevin Puitt's Home, the namesake of the album. And we just released an album this past July of all 3 Isidore Quartets.
Wow.
Repertoire that we've loved and lived with for a long time. Also, kind of like Beethoven, Bartok, he wrote the 3 quartets in 3 different phases of his life. There's an earlier, there's a middle, and there's one very late. The second quartet is probably his most famous, most popular, but they're all amazing. The first is his nationalistic period is really just full of South American, rhythmic and tonal kind of qualities. And then the last, we are joined by soprano who sings this amazing music, which is almost impossible to sing. Kira Duffy, who sings this soprano in this 3rd quartet and does an amazing job. It's atonal, it's serial, it's 12 tone, and he bases it on all these different Spanish poets like Lorca, and it's kind of out there, but it's amazing. And then we're very proud of the album. We're very happy. Pentatone released it in July, and we're very happy. And fingers crossed that. Good. For the
and it was recorded where?
It was recorded right here in this studio. Thank you for the prompt. As was Home.
I remember.
And if I may, I'll mention another album we just recorded here in this very space. We are releasing our first ever holiday album named Hearth. And it's going to be released at the end of November. And what we did in that one is we commissioned 14 to 15 different composers to make their own arrangements of their favorite holiday tune, either an arrangement or a composition inspired by a holiday tune. So you get all kinds of different things. You get some of the classics. We have one that is extremely funny, and there are some that are very moving, and everything in between. So we're really looking forward to veiling that to the world.
I think all of you have been on my holiday classical Austin show, and you each had favorites. I remember you selected the 12 Days of Christmas.
Yes.
Okay.
That's right.
So did you do that on this album?
Actually, the one that I'm telling you about, you'll have to wait to hear it. The funny one is the composer decided to just make a collage of different.
Oh, excellent.
So you get little bits of each one, and it's very funny in the way they do it. I won't give away any more than that. You'll have to listen for the album when it comes out.
Sure will. I hope we can get an advance copy when it's
yes, for
sure. I want to thank you
sure.
so much for coming in today. Daniel Ching of the Miró Quartet, first violinist with the Miró Quartet. Their concert is coming up on Friday, the 7th, 7:30 p.m. at Bates Recital Hall. And thank you for taking time. We're recording this a little bit early because later on in the week you'll be performing at Lincoln Center. So.
Yes. That's
Well, wish everyone else in the band all our good wishes, and thanks for taking time.
Thank you, Diane.